Discover how to become a seven-figure abundant entrepreneur in today's episode with Martin Salama.
Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu. Mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services.
For over a decade, Martin Salama, the architect of the Warrior's Life Code, has been helping entrepreneurs shift from worry and lack to abundance and being a life warrior. Why spend your time worrying when you can be living incredibly full every day? Now, the first question is, what does it mean to have an abundance mindset as an entrepreneur, and how has that mindset contributed to your seven-figure success?
Well, first thing is, Lily, thank you for having me here. I'm excited to be with you. And so I honestly believe that the most successful entrepreneurs out there wake up every day with the right mindset. And the abundant mindset to me starts with understanding that when you get up in the morning, you have to have gratitude, right? Grateful for whatever it is in your life. You have to look for not complaining. And you should look to say these things. I am so excited I get to do this. I get to do that. I get to go to work. I get to have these meetings. I get to have podcasts all day, like for yourself. Or you could say, oh my God, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. And I can't do this all. It's the mindset. If you wake up saying, I can, or how can I, instead of I can't, you're setting yourself up correctly.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs shift from a scarcity mindset of fear, loss, limited resources to one of abundance?
Great question. Great question. So for me, I wasn't always like this. And it took me years to understand this and develop a system that I felt was great for me, and also turn around and teach it, coach it to the people in my sphere of influence, to my clients. And one of the things I did was I get them to understand that there's this thing out there called the law of attraction, which many people know about, and they go, oh, it doesn't work. And they say that because they don't recognize the depth of what the law of attraction is. So I've taken it and I've jiggered it up a little bit, okay? And I now call it the cycle of A's. And for me, it's a perpetual cycle of three words with the letter A. The first one is ask. Ask the universe for what you want. That's the basic foundation of the law of attraction. It could even be so simple as I just came up with an idea in my head. That's an ask, right? Oh my God, wow, maybe I can create the newest widget, right? How many times have you seen a product online or something on TV and you go, I thought of that. I wish I did it. But most people didn't do it, and that guy did it, and now he's a multimillionaire or whatever. So the second A is act. Once you've got that idea, once you've got that ask, go out and do it. Work towards getting it. Put together a plan, make it happen. And then the last A, which I think is probably the most important one of the three, is attitude. You have to have an attitude of that you don't care emotionally about the outcome. Because when you do, you're sending to the law of attraction this mindset of lack, that I don't really deserve it, or I don't think it's really going to happen, or even worse, you feel like, oh my God, my world's going to fall apart if I don't get it. All those things lead to it running from you instead of running to you. When you have this attitude of, okay, I put it out there, I'm doing the work and it's happening and whatever, and let me go on with something else while this is percolating, while this is working, and not allow my mind to get caught back into it, it'll start happening. And then when it's not going exactly as you want, don't be married to the exact way you're doing it. Be open to the idea to change, to change course a little bit.
Thank you. How important is it to have a clear vision when aiming for seven-figure success? And how do you set the right goals to achieve that level?
No, such a great question. So I believe there's three steps to creating a great multi-million-dollar business, seven-figure and beyond business. The first one is, which it can get you to $100,000 or six figures, is to have the right systems in place, right? The nuts and bolts of how everything's going to go. Today, this, and you have your systems. And you even what I like to call SOP, standard operating procedures, right? That you do, that you incorporate in your business. The second one is you have to have the right mindset, right? And that's about you within yourself, right? We talked about it a little earlier. You could love me and you could love the product or my program, and you could think they're the greatest things in the world. But if you don't love yourself or have the ability in yourself or believe in yourself, those two things don't matter. Me, my program, that doesn't matter if you're not going to follow the instructions and believe that you can do it, right? So that's the second thing, mindset. And then the last one is you've got to understand scalability. And I love to use a couple of examples. You know, you ever hear of a guy named Robert Kiyosaki?
Yes.
Right. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Well, Robert Kiyosaki says, I want to be the dumbest guy in my own business. He wants to surround himself with people who are smart in their field. So I say the people that know how work for the people that know why, right? And that's not taking away from those people that know how. They love what they do and they're great at it. And they're contributing to your business. And then there's a book that came out a few years ago by a gentleman named Dan Sullivan. It's called Who, Not How. You know that book, Lily?
I've heard of that, but I haven't read it yet.
Right. So Who, Not How says when you wake up in the morning, you start saying to yourself, how am I going to get this done? And how am I going to build my funnel? And how am I going to build my CRM? And all these things that you're really not good at or don't want to do. You're wasting your precious time where your genius should be. Instead, you should be saying, who can I get to do this for me? Right. And this way, you're staying in your zone of genius and they're staying in their zone of genius. You're still the leader. You're still running the boat, running the ship, but they're there taking care of all the things. And they come to you and they go, this is what we got. What do you think? And then we go from there. And I believe doing it in a team leadership type of a way, instead of barking out orders, telling people, go do this and bring it back and then tearing it to shreds. I don't believe in that method at all.
Thank you. Can you walk us through the process you use to set and achieve big scalable goals?
Yeah. So for me, so I have this program that you alluded to a little earlier, where I help entrepreneurs become 7-figure entrepreneurs. They follow my system, do everything I can get them there in 2 years guaranteed. All right. So you're probably looking at me and saying, how do you say guaranteed so nonchalantly? Because that's how much I believe in it. And the way I built it is in a way that shows that I coach more on results than on information, right? So the first thing I do when someone comes into my world and they want to become, take the road to success, is we sit down and we have a launch call and we create their roadmap for success, for more profit and more life. It's great to have all the profit in the world, but if you're not having a great life as well, you're sacrificing something, right? So I believe that. And it's actually, you were talking about, I'm known as the Warrior's Life, the architect of the Warrior's Life Code. Life for me is an acronym for live incredibly full every day, right? L.I.F.E, live incredibly full every day. So I helped them in that first session to build this roadmap. Where are you now? And where do you want to be in 12 months, 24 months? And we even break it down more after that. But just in the bigger picture, where do you want to be? And we lay out goals, and then we come up with 8 essential things that they need to make sure they happen. And we show them 3 different ways to get. So we start the layout. The next time I meet with them, we take that information, plug it into ChatGPT, where I've created, with my team and I've created specific ChatGPT prompts and programs that will get them who their right fit client is, right? Who they should be going after. What are the outcomes that your clients are going to get by working with you? What's your message? It's called an intromercial that was created by this woman, Jane M. Powers. Have you heard that word before, Lily? Intromercial?
No.
So it's like an elevator speech. Okay. And it's 15 to 30 seconds long. And it tells somebody who's listening whether they qualify or disqualify for who you are. And you want to disqualify the people just as much as you want to qualify them. So it goes right through there. And then the last thing, we do this within an hour, is to create the blueprint for their business. Before I had this with the created it in ChatGPT, it would take me a couple of months to get my clients there because we'd be going back, pulling it out, stretching it out. Now, within an hour, we have the framework, and then we can fly from there.
Thank you. What are the key revenue generating strategies that helped you to scale to 7 figures, and how did you diversify income streams?
Right. So for sure, one of the ways that I feel is great for me is I present a workshop, a 4-hour workshop about once a month. And in this workshop, I show everything. It's not one of these 45-minute, let me show you a little bit, and then there's still a lot of stuff behind the curtain. No, I rip the curtain open and I show you everything. And I made it 4 hours to make sure that I cover everything, right? And I call it a philanthropy workshop because whoever comes to my workshop, they pay $27 to come, and all the money goes to a charity, right? Now, because people are doing these webinars, they're signing people up and nobody's showing up. Because when you do them for free, they don't care so much. Okay, I'll sign up. But when you pay attention, right? And here I am saying in 4 hours, I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to show you my whole system. And at the end of it, if you stay till the end, you can get the recording, as well as if you leave me a nice recommendation or even a not nice recommendation on LinkedIn, I'll send you the slides as well. So what I'm doing there is I'm breaking down everything, what we do in our way. So that's number one. That helps because I'm doing this on a consistent basis. So people know that they can come in and find out and learn all about it. So that's a great way to have people come in. So another thing I do is I offer for people people that I know, whether they're in my business or not, a way of making money. And I do the same thing with them by referring them. So the referral business is a huge business, right? And the more that you go out and refer other people who you believe in, it's not just, oh, let me sign this person up and put them out there. You want to have a belief in them because otherwise you're compromising your own credibility. So If you do that, and you do it in a way where you're authentic, that's great.
Thank you. How do you identify which areas of your business to scale, and how do you avoid spreading yourself too thin?
Good question. Well, that comes as we go along, and we look for people that we believe have the same mindset as us and the same set of values or close to the same set of values. And then we test them. But we test them in a way that's not like, oh, pass or fail. We want to see if they're going to hold up their end of the bargain. We want to see if they're who they say they are. Because I believe how you do anything is how you do everything. So if I see you doing something that goes against my grain, I'm going to say, you know what? This isn't working for me. But if I see that you're going full tilt with the same mindset, I'm going to throw everything I have into it with you. Because the more I believe in you and the more you believe in me, the more we'll both be successful.
Thank you. What business models or strategies are most conducive to scaling a company to 7 figures?
Oh, that's a great question. And me as a coach, I put together this business model in a way that was put together based on my own experiences in the coaching business. It's very easy to go out there and find people who will help coach you. And they'll go, we're going to help you. We're going to show you what to do. And it's really done for you. And you know what I found, Lily? So many of those were done to you businesses, done to you coaching businesses where they got you to come in. They said, this is how much it is, paid all up front. And then when I got in, I realized, wait a minute, it's a little bit of a bait and switch here. It's not what I thought it was. And I've spent all this money and I have next to nothing to show for it. So I built a business model that I use what I call a risk reversal strategy, where the risk is just as much on me as it is on my clients. And as I said earlier, I coach mostly towards results. These other people are coaching all information. Here's the information. This is what worked for me. And I know it'll work for you too. No, it's not cookie cutter. What worked for John doesn't mean it's going to work for Mary, right? So I get in there with them and I say, just pay me 12.5% upfront. I'm going to get you to $1 million, right? But just pay me 12.5% of my investment upfront. And then you don't pay me again until you have results. And to me, results is cash on the table, money, sales. If you're having results because I'm guiding you, how quickly do you want to pay me for the next level?
Quickly.
Right. And how quickly do I want to get you to pay me?
quickly too.
So it's a win-win. As we're doing this, we're also building a relationship, and maybe we'll find ways to JV partner as we go along, because JV partnerships is a great way to come up with multiple streams of income.
Thank you. What were the biggest challenges you faced when trying to break through to 7 figures? And how did you overcome self-doubt or fear of failure?
Okay, that's a two-part question. So the first part, I sort of answered already. The biggest challenges I found was getting into these programs that they didn't deliver the way they said they were. So to me, that's why I do a 4-hour workshop. What you see there is what you get. So if I'm telling you this is how it's going to be, and I'm going to be there. Now, along the way, if things have to change because we both agree with it, I do what I call one-on-one coaching in a group setting, because everybody's involved, right, in their own business. But if you do one-on-one straight, you may miss something that the other people might need. And if there's a prior personal issue, we can have a conversation about that. But when you're doing one-on-one coaching in a group setting, everybody's learning and everybody's contributing to help each other. So that's some of the things I learned. Some of the pitfalls that I fell into in the past is, oh, here, watch these videos, do the homework, come back, show us what you did, and maybe we'll answer your email. No, I have a Slack channel. I have a Slack channel where people come in and make a message, and within 24 hours, we come back and answer them, because we are committed to you and you're committed to yourself. So if I'm not committed to you, what am I going to do? So one of the guarantees I also put in there, two of the guarantees is, number one, there's going to be chaos. So get ready for things to go wrong. And that's okay. We're going to learn from those things. And number two, if you don't give up on you, then I don't give up on you.
Thank you.
And keep on doing. Yeah.
Can you give us an example of a setback that you had, and how did you overcome it, aside from the issue with the courses?
Right. That's a good question. So, So a couple of years ago, I put out a program, Warrior video program. And I spent hours creating it, doing everything and setting it all up. And I put it out there. And I thought I did everything right. And I still had almost no sales on it in the beginning. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And that's when I realized, wait a minute, I'm trying to be everything when I shouldn't be. And that was the setback for me, was understanding you could go alone, but you can't grow alone. You need to have the people around you to help you get to the next level.
Thank you. When your ideal clients are very high profile, very high net worth individuals, how do you overcome the fear of closing those deals and speaking to those high net worth clients? Because every single lead is incredibly valuable. It can be so hard to get them. And when you're in front of them, how do you make sure that you make that moment count?
Right. That's a great question. Number one, it has to do with a lot of self-confidence without being cocky, right? Understanding that you believe in yourself, you believe in your product, you believe in what's going on, but also being authentic in what you're saying. And then you have to get out of the pitch and pursue mode. Oh, let me throw it out there and keep on going after it. By doing a 4-hour workshop and by showing up and being your authentic self, at the end of the conversation, you're going to have people saying, I'm in if you want me. They're coming more because I believe in me and they believe in what I'm doing. And if it's a high worth, high profile individual, I give them the same respect I would expect them to give me.
Thank you. What role do automation and systems play in reaching 7-figure revenue? And what processes were crucial for you to put in place?
So absolutely, the automation is very important. As I told you, we use AI to help people create those things and many other things. Their lead magnets, their funnels and stuff along the way. And by having the right CRM, customer retention model, management, it's a great way. So I use a fantastic CRM and I build it into my program that my clients get it as part of the program that they're in with me, right? So now when they're building their list, their CRM, their products and everything in it, we give them what's known as, in this company, it's called a snapshot. So duplicating what we have as a template to help them do that. And then the second part of the question you're asking is, how do you make sure that, that goes back to the who, not how. Surrounding yourself with the professionals, the experts in those areas who know what they know better than what you know in that area, and having the right team around you.
How important is it to delegate and build a team when growing to 7 figures? And what advice do you have for entrepreneurs hesitant to let go of control?
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. That goes into everything I've already been talking about. Delegation is tantamount, and it has to be done in a way in a team environment, letting everybody know, okay, I have the end final say, but what everybody else has to say is influenced by my final say. Okay. And now at the end of the day, sometimes I may totally disagree with everybody, but I heard everybody out and I say, I heard you. I believe this. You have to be willing to listen to the people around you who probably know better than you in many of the areas that they're there. So that's number one. Number two, the more you micromanage, the more you feel like you can't give up, the more you're losing yourself in not doing what you should be doing, which is your best. It could be that you're a great coach. It could be a great salesman. It could be a great speaker, whatever it is. If those are your areas that are great, that's where you should be. And you should surround yourself with people who understand who you are and you understand who they are and their value.
Thank you. What were some of the first things that you outsourced, and how did that impact your business?
So one of the first things I outsourced would have to be understanding all the things that have to be done with creating the things within a CRM, like to send out an email, a follow-up email, and all that stuff. I was there in the beginning so that they understood who I was. And then I said, okay, great, go build this email sequence. If you need videos from me, tell me how long the video has to be, what the angle you want it to be. Tell me all the details you need of this video, and I'll pop it out for you. And then you'll take it and edit it and put it in and do whatever needs to be done. Give me specific directions. And my team laughs at me because they know when someone new comes along, I go, well, do you understand what to do? And they tell him, if you tell him exactly what you want him to do, he'll get it done within 20 minutes, whatever it is. And that's the way I work, because I want other people to understand. You give me specifics, I'll give it back. I give you specifics, you give it back.
Thank you. How do you create massive value for your customers to drive repeat business and referrals, which is a key for building a 7-figure business?
Absolutely. So I want to create raving fans, which is the same thing. So I do that by utilizing that risk reversal strategy, by telling them, only pay me 12.5% now. Let's get into the trenches together. Let's start building this. And when you hit the benchmarks, you'll pay the next number, right? The next 12.5%, the next 25%, and then the final 50%, because I've gotten you there. The first 12.5% is all information. Okay. The next 12.5% is the beginning of the results. And I give you a 2-to-1 return on your investment. So you're paying me the second 12.5% because you've made twice as much. Then the next one comes when they make 5 times my investment. They pay me another 25%, but they've made 5 times. And the last one doesn't come until they've made 10 times their investment. And then they don't pay me. When they go to beyond that, I'm still in their team. I'm still helping them, but they're not saying, oh, Martin gets another. No, we're now building other things. We're going forward. So for me, that's how I build referrals. That's how I build raving fans. That's how I build retention, because they know that I'm not taking their money and saying, go figure it out on your own.
Thank you. What strategies do you use to build deeper relationships with your customers?
Oh, so number one, I love the ideas of having this launch call where we can get deep and understand each other. I get to understand you. You get to understand me. What motivates you? What keeps you up at night? Why does it keep you up at night? Right? And get into the depths of it. And my partner, Heather, comes along on these calls because she has another perspective that's great. And Heather started out as being my fractional COO. She wasn't even that first. Before she was my fractional COO, she was just somebody I hired to help me put my program together. But the value that she showed and the value that she gave moved her up to a fractional COO, and now she's my partner. So we do these things together. And it's about, so that's what I look for. I look for that with my clients as well. And they know when they come to the next part, which is the one-on-one coaching in a group setting, they're going to be heard and they're going to have other people involved to help them move forward. And then when they get to a certain level, we put them into a true Napoleon style mastermind. Not one of these things where there's one guy telling everybody what to do. It's a room of 6 or 8 people, a Zoom of 6 to 8 people. each one coming with their issues and having input from everybody else. Then we move on to the next person. The next person gets spotlight. What issue do you have this week, Lily? Okay, Lily, let's see. Let's throw out some ideas and see how we can help you. And building that. And another thing we do is we assign success partners, right? You come into my business, Lily, I'll put you together with Joe. And you and Joe will meet once a week for 10, 20 minutes. What's going on? How can I help you? All those things build trust and relationships. And then as a result, how much do they want to go out and tell other people about you when they're successful?
Thank you. How do you manage your finances and cash flow to ensure your business remains profitable?
Oh, wow. So years ago, I read a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. Okay. You know that book?
Yes.
So, yeah. So I loved his on the book of your money and put it away, something. But over the years, I've developed it a little further. And as a matter of fact, a woman who's one of my mentors, her name is Genevieve Davis. She lives in England. Said, take 40% of your money and put it into 4 different categories. Like for me, it's big expenses, it's charity, it's golden goose, things that down the line. And the last one, I haven't thought about it in a couple of days. It went out of my last one is emergency fund. You know, what happened that you weren't expecting? And if you have money put aside for it, it won't be attacking the rest of your money because you've already put it on the side. And in the beginning, you go, oh my God, how am I going to put 40%? How am I going to live on 40%? How's my business going to survive? But if you set it up correctly, right, it's there for when you need it for the other things that come up, or whatever it is. And then the golden goose one is great. You want to expand your business? You want to go into something else, multiple streams? Great. I have money to invest in that without taking out from the regular day-to-day.
Thank you. Do you have any specific routines and practices that helped you maintain a growth mindset and keep leveling up as your business grows?
Yeah. So I alluded to a little bit earlier. Every day when I wake up, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. I said, wake up with gratitude. I take it to the level. I pull out a nice notebook, like a moleskin, not one of those flimsy papers. And I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. And often I do it at night as well. Then I'm ready for the day. I look for opportunities. And if a problem comes up, I say, how can I get this problem taken care of and find an opportunity to move forward in it?
Thank you. With so many responsibilities, how do you manage your time effectively to focus on the high impact tasks to drive revenue?
Great question. So I do something where I split up my day into 4 different specific timing. Okay. And they're not specifically to 24 hours where I'm going to say 6, 6, 6, and 6. But I have sleep time, family time, and me time, right? Business time is the main part of the day. It's between this hour and this hour. Before that in the morning, I have me time where I might be exercising or reading or doing something like that. Then I have family time where I'm just with the family, spending time with them. And then the final one is sleep time.
Thank you. How important is networking and building relationships with other entrepreneurs or mentors when scaling to 7 figures?
Extremely important. I've talked about it a few times. It's about finding the networks, finding like-minded people, having referrals out there, referring other people, whether you make something or not. It's not about, quid pro quo. I do for you, you do for me, right? It's about what can I do for you today? How can I help you? They say to you, how can I help you? Great. This is what I got going on. But it's not at the end of it saying, now that I'm helping you, what are you going to do for me? No, because you're not being authentic when you do that. And it could be as simple as, oh, could you do me a favor and put me in touch with Lily? I'd love to be on Lily's show. Sure. Let me do that.
Thank you. What habits or mindset strategies do you use to stay resilient in challenging times in business?
That's a great question. So a lot of it has to do with the things I've learned over the last 10, 15 years of going through coaching. In 2008, when the world fell apart financially, I lost everything and I had to start all over again. And what happened was it forced me to understand and within myself and understand what was working and what wasn't working, right? And as a result, about a year after I lost everything, I came out of my depression. I decided I needed to do something different. And I decided to become a life coach. So I looked into it. I found the right school and I went to that training. And about a month before or 2 months before I was going to start the training was my 24th wedding anniversary. And you know what my wife said to me that day? I want a divorce. All right. So I'm like, on this day, you ask me, there's 364 other days you could have asked me this question. And I was devastated. You got it, right? She asked me on our anniversary. You're laughing now. It took you a second. And I was gutted. I thought, why is everything happening to me? And later, as I went through coaching, I realized that was the problem. I was looking at it by saying, why is everything happening to me? That's blame everybody else. Now I say everything happens through me. And that's where the resilience comes in, because you're going to have ups and downs every day. It's how you respond to them. And I teach people how to respond instead of react when things come up.
How do you maintain a balance between work, life, and health and personal goals while growing a 7-figure business?
Right. Number one, I don't believe that there's a specific balance. That word work-life balance, I think, is a misnomer. It's a myth, right? And I do it with what I talked about earlier, those 4 quadrants of during my day, right? I have a certain time that's for my health. I work out. I pray, whatever it is that me in that time. I read. And it could be just one down and plop on the TV on the couch and be a couch potato for an hour and just watch TV. But if that's what I need to unwind, okay, that's my time. Then I have my work time, and that's what happens during that time: family time and sleep time. So it's there. It's built into my daily routines. Now, is it always going to go 1 hour? No, there's always going to be ups and downs in it. But it's about understanding what happens when those things come along. When things come to knock you down, how do you get up again? How fast do you get up again, and how do you move forward from there?
Thank you so much. Very fascinating interview. I just have to say that your voice sounds very much like you should be in a movie. Have any role in any movie right now?
I'd love to. If anybody's listening out there and they want to hire me to be in a movie, I'm in.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential, so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.